Today's video will be taking a closer look at the real story of when Bob Dylan went electric, a misunderstanding or abandoning his roots and therefore fans. Let's take a closer look at Bob Dylan as a multifaceted artist in the second episode of Evermore Sound Revisited. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you're a returning viewer. Bob Dylan is slated to be getting a biopic according to a January 2024 report. Originally titled Going Electric, the biopic will now take a new shape and be called A Complete Unknown. With renewed interest in Bob Dylan's story and lyrical gifts, it was only a matter of time before certain stories made their way back to the public zeitgeist. One of those stories that takes center stage in rock history revolves around our star once being called a Judas for allegedly selling out the folk music community. For a long time, folk music has had a long-standing tradition of storytelling, and with Bob Dylan, like those before him, that was no less true. Early on, it's no secret to any of us that Bob Dylan's music inspiration came from Woody Guthrie, even going as far as to meet him in his final days. Dylan honored Guthrie because he encapsulated all he wanted to be as both a folk singer and a musician. One of his earlier songs was called Dink Song, which was believed to be an homage to an African-American woman who sang of washing her husband's clothes in a water bank near Houston, Texas. As Nat Hensoff wrote in 1964, with him were half a dozen friends, among them Jack Elliott, a folk singer in the Woody Guthrie tradition, who was also dressed in blue jeans and desert boots, plus a brown corduroy shirt and a jaunty cowboy hat. Elliott had been carrying 2 bottles of Judas, which he now handed to Dylan, who carefully put them on a table near the screen. Clearly, Dylan captured the essence of his hero, like no one had before, carrying the torch of folk royalty like a king on a throne. A real wordsmith, and like with his earlier work, which you can listen to here, this is all the more true. On the English Plus podcast, they magnified this claim, explaining, his arrival on the scene with a harmonica around his neck and a guitar in his hands signaled a seismic shift in the folk music paradigm. Dylan's presence within the genre was right on time, and many welcomed him with open arms. His debut album, The Freewheelin Bob Dylan, is now revered as a certified classic for songs like Masters of War and Don't Think Twice, It's All Right. Freewheelin detailed a now prolific commentary on social issues surrounding nuclear war and the complex apprehensions some may have felt during that time. At 22 years of age, Freewheelin was a towering achievement, showcasing the nonconformity in both Dylan and his songwriting. The counterculture movement was awakened by the singer's reluctance to conform to society's expectations and demands during that era. This endeared Dylan's new folk sound to many fans who were used to the standards they had grown accustomed to seeing at the time. Some may have contributed Dylan's quick rise as a folk singer to what some were feeling in their hearts, but too afraid to say out loud. For many, Dylan represented that. He became a folk sensation very fast, skyrocketing to fame with a certified classic. As time would have it, Dylan went electric faster than fans would have liked, and on the 17th of May 1966, in the coal halls of the Manchester Free Trade Hall, Dylan was considered a traitor, turning his back on the political messaging of freewheeling and more so to what fans believed to be a quote-unquote easier sell. The first set would be strictly solo and acoustic, while the backup band would transition to a more electric feel later. Before then, Dylan and his band had become used to the trend of unruly nature of fans. They had gotten used to it. As Dylan's drummer Levin Helm wrote in his autobiography, I've been raised to believe that music was supposed to make people smile and want to party. But Helm quickly learned, like Dylan, that crowds could be insufferable if they wanted to be. Manchester would prove to be no small feat. The crowd simply was not ready to come to grips with losing the sounds and the musicianship they had adored for so long from their favorite artist. He was changing his sound to the electric that they didn't like. That night, Dylan and his band received verbal lashes, not just because of an off night, but a sound imbalance. Combined with that, Dylan was playing with keyboardist Al Cooper and members of the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. The concert was met with further disgruntlement from fans because they felt they owned Dylan's sound and largely his audience. What so many didn't know is that Dylan had been inspired by the meteoric success of the Byrds and his adulation for his friend, John P. Hammond. To Dylan, Hammond's effectual blues made his decision even more concrete, but fans couldn't accept that. And so Dylan's decision was met with controversy and backlash. In a documentary directed by Martin Scorsese, Dylan doubled down on his decision at the time as, "I thought I'd be getting more power with a small group backing me. It was electric, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's modernized, just because it's electric. Country music was electric too." Today, Dylan's decision is more understandable for an artist that was acquiescing to the changing music landscape, looking to honor his heroes and embark on a musical adventure that was different from his past. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed today's video for music commentary videos and content just like this that revolves around an artistic legacy and expression of classic rock musicians and other genres. I'll see you soon. Bye.